about Dean. It's about Dean's investment in Sam's sexuality.
Oh my goodness.
We could have we could have multiple discussion episodes on what the boys' sexualities are. For the sake of time, I'm just gonna lay out my current beliefs. It's my belief that Dean Winchester is a bisexual man, and that Sam is somewhere on the ace spectrum, maybe demisexual or gray ace with a preference for women. It doesn't really matter what you view Sam or Dean, for that matter, as. The important thing is that Dean's not straight. Any label that isn't straight works. Dean's not straight. I'm going to say bi because that's how I have interpreted that.
Fair enough.
I mean,
the background. The important thing is that Dean's not straight. That's really the important part of this whole dynamic that's happening in Sam and Dean's relationship that makes Dean so interested in Sam's sexuality and in Sam expressing that sexuality by sleeping with women.
There you go.
Because John is a crappy dad.
Yeah.
That is so overwhelmingly true.
I think that when Dean was young, I don't know how old, but I think that when Dean was young, not straight, coming up in the world, starting to explore his sexuality a bit, I think that John reacted very badly. Just based on everything that we know about John, there's no way that would have ever gone well.
That checks out.
And we know that a lot of Dean's like hyper masculine, toxic masculinity stuff all comes from being raised by John. So I think that, a Dean not being straight would only exacerbate that need for Dean to be so like in your face about his masculinity all of the time. And I think that's also why he's so not even just open but like forceful. He wants you to see him flirting with women and sleeping with women. It's not just like he's going out and doing that. He wants people to witness it all of the time. And I think that the reason he's so invested in Sam's sexuality is very similar to what we were talking about when we talked about Bugs, with Dean guiding Sam to the correct stage in the cycle of abuse before they get reunited with John, is this knowledge that if Sam ever displays any like tendencies of not being straight, that John's going to react badly and he needs to protect Sam all the time. So he is trying to guide Sam to display his heterosexuality and his masculinity through one-night stands and keep him protected from John and keep the familial relationship smooth, by Winchester standards.
Well, also, there's this assumption that if you're not straight, then you have to be, like, gay or bi. And,
there's a whole bunch of other sexualities out there.
Yeah, there's a whole spectrum.
Well, specifically allosexual, meaning, like, you have to be experiencing sexual attraction to someone.
Yeah, and I think that Sam is on the ace spectrum, so...
Yeah, I like that you said that, because I'm thinking that may be what Dean would assume, is that maybe Sam's gonna experience sexual attraction, but, like, gotta make sure he experiences it safely.
Yeah, the correct one that will keep him safe from John.
Yeah,
and like, the right way to go with this is to encourage him to sleep with Meg. Yay!
Yeah, but he also was doing the same thing with Lori. Like, Sam and Lori only talked one time, and all of a sudden Dean's like, you like her because you agree with her, and he was really trying to make stuff happen between them. And in a couple of episodes, episode 19, Sam goes on a date with Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Dean really tries to push that as well.
Dean.
But, like, speaking from personal experience, because I think I've said this before, but I'm ace.
Mm-hmm.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I got so distracted. But anyway, you don't really think about your sexuality that much. Like, if you're
until
ace
you have a reason to think about it, you don't think about it.
Like, even if you're ace and you're still attracted to, like, the opposite gender, you don't really have a reason to assume that that's just not how other people experience things. So chances are Sam's not really thinking about it.
Yeah, I literally think that's it. I think that Sam's experienced sexual attraction before. Like, I think that's why I think he's, like, more on, like, the grays or demisexual, because I think...
I agree.
He experiences attraction. We see him experience attraction over the course of the show. He was just in a long-term relationship, and I mean, we don't know what the sexual content of that relationship was, but he was just in a long-term relationship, so obviously he experiences at least some levels of attraction to people. But yeah, I think that because, like, his attraction does tend to be towards women, he probably doesn't experience it, whereas Dean is experiencing attraction so readily all of the time.
Yeah.
That it really makes Sam's lack of attraction all the more noticeable. Like, I think maybe if Dean wasn't so in your face about his attraction to everybody all of the time, it wouldn't even be all that noticeable that Sam's not experiencing attraction, especially especially in the first season, because he just suffered a major loss. Like, his girlfriend just got murdered like 6 months ago. But it's very obvious compared to Dean.
Yeah, I think that's the card that they're leaning on for Sam.
But it really just does not stop. I think it's like Sam has that relationship in season 8, and then doesn't have another relationship until season 15. He has a one-night stand in season 11, and that's about it as far as girls and Sam go. Soul transactions, still none despite heavy G-Man interaction this week. But nothing yet. And then to finish off this week's episode, we have Line of the Week. And let's see if Meredith had a Line of the Week this week.
I did. I thought it was funny when Dean said, "Hey Sam, next time you want to get laid, find a girl that's not so buckets of crazy," huh?
I like that line, except for the fact that Sam never wanted to sleep with Meg.
I know, but like, just because it's like a prophecy.
At that point, I was so mad about Dean saying that I couldn't even enjoy it, but I do like the line.
Yeah.
And Audrey, did you have one?
I had 2.
Okay, 2 is good.
One was one I mentioned earlier, like, your alarm's about as useful as boobs on a man. I thought that was really funny. And then the other one was Dean saying to Sam about Meg, "No offense, Sam, but your girlfriend's a biatch."
She is.
She so is. Like,
I mean, I love her as a character, but as a person.
Like, seriously.
My line of the week was a Meg line. Just really appreciate when Meg said, "Baby, I've killed a lot more for a lot less."
Oh, I did like that as well.
I love Meg. As I said, as a character, as a person, no, but like, she's such a great character.
I think that Nicki Aycox did really great at setting up Meg's character. I think that Rachel Miner brought it to a whole different level.
Oh, yeah, she sure
but
did.
I think that Nicki Aycox was she laid some solid groundwork.
She absolutely did.
Our first look at like a recurring villain on this show, she was an amazing start.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like, I think she was a good choice.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because like obviously Meg is involved with the demon that killed their mom, but we see her now, and we don't see the demon that killed their mom for several more episodes.
Yeah, well, he's kind of a major plot point toward the end.
Well, it's just like in lots of stories, you gotta set up the mini boss before you set up the boss.
Yeah, makes sense.
Also, I think I have a special attachment to Meg because she's the reason that we meet Bobby.
That's
for the
true.
First time as an audience, and
but, like we're getting a look at like how powerful she is and how she's completely out of their league in like any way. Like they haven't hunted anything like her before, and then
they're not real experienced with demons. She's their little like starter demon.
Yeah, and like we're figuring out like however bad she is, the guy she's working for is way worse.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, guys, strap on your boots and.
Yeah. Anyway, that wraps up this week's episode. So, Meredith, where can the people find you?
At my house. But,
Please don't show up at Meredith's house. Disclaimer.
Well, here's the address. And
let's see. You can find me on Tumblr and Instagram at Shades of Deianira, and if you go there, you'll see lots of cool drawings for the fantasy novel I'm writing.
Yay! And Audrey, is there anything that you want to share with the listeners? Social media?
Sure. You can find me on Twitter at StaraParent, where I make weird complaints about life.
I love that. I'm about to go follow you on Twitter. But yeah, thank you both so much. It was a blast to get some real siblings involved. Audrey, you're welcome back anytime.
Okay, well, maybe.
We'll have to get you in season 2. I think we're starting up the sign-up stuff.
Yeah, we are starting sign-ups for season 2, so...
Oh, perfect. Well, I will probably recur then.
And next week, we are having our 4th discussion episode. Meredith and I are going to be chatting with a very special guest, TikTok's very own Whitney Page, our supernatural worstie.
Oh.
And it's a good time. We know that because we already recorded.
Yes, we did.
I've been KJ. You can find me on all social media platforms at Life Messes of KJ. If you want to be on the podcast, you can either reach out to me there or you can reach out through the podcast social media. You can email the podcast. Our email address is supernaturalopinionspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at SPNOpinionsPod. We are Supernatural Opinions Podcast on Facebook and at Supernatural Opinions Pod on Instagram. And if you could subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to this podcast, that really helps people to find us. And if you want to hear more of me and my thoughts, you can check out my other podcast, Series of Opinions, available on all the same places as this one. This podcast was written, recorded, produced, and edited by me. Thank you to Faith Ebert for our logo. Our theme song is by Joe Veretta. Thank you once again to all of our amazing guests.
Don't think in this world.